is something we should learn and take to heart and follow. This is not a man who's just trying, who's experimenting. It's a man that Allah gave him wisdom so he know what he's doing. And before we continue, let's define wisdom. So wisdom, or being wise, is the ability to know what you have to do or to say, and when to say it, and how to say it. That's number one. Number two, to know when to stay silent and when to turn away, and when and why you should leave things. So you know why you do something and why you leave something. And then the third element is to be able to have contentment with either decision. So when I know I should do this thing, I'm content with the consequences. When I know I should leave this thing, I'm content with the consequences of that. So Luqman alayhi salam had this ability. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us. وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا لُقْمَانَ الْحِكْمَةِ. So what is the first thing a wise man would tell his son? He said, وَإِذْ قَالَ لُقْمَانُ لِابْنِهِ وَهُوَ يَعِظُهُ يَا بُنَيَّ لَا تُشْرِكْ بِاللَّهِ. The first important message and lesson and advice Luqman alayhi salam gave his son is about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He told him, don't associate anyone with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But how did he say it? And this is what we need to focus on today. The way he's talking to him. He said, oh my dear beloved son. He's talking to him. He's conversing with him. He's not ordering him. He's not giving him orders. He's not telling him what to do. He's talking to him. وإذ قال لقمان لابنه وهو يعظه يا بني لا تشرك بالله إن الشرك لظلم عظيم. Indeed, the most dangerous injustice that you could ever do is to associate something with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because when we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that created us, the one that gave us this life, the one that's in charge of everything, Al-Razzaq, Al-Kareem, the one that is going to hold us accountable in the day of judgment. Allah encompasses everything. So imagine after knowing these realities, you decide to go and associate something other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to worship. You put in your life other entities above than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is a grave injustice. That's the worst thing anyone could do. So Luqman alayhi salam knows the importance for his son, for his world to be centered when it comes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because he wants his son to be wise. And for his son to be wise, he needs to know what to do and when to do it. And that needs guidance. And this guidance needs to come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And his son needs to know when to avoid things and when to stop. And that needs guidance. And this guidance comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's his priority. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answered Luqman alayhi salam. See, when us as parents and a community put Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first, then Allah will put us first as parents. What did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the next ayah? Allah said, وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ, not Luqman, Allah said, وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ حَمَلَتْهُ أُمُّهُ وَهْنًا عَلَى وَهْنٍ. He said, we commanded mankind, we commanded every one of you to stay good to their parents, to respect their parents, to treat these parents with dignity and respect, to love their parents. This mother that, was pregnant with you for months and months and months, with the pain of delivery, with the, sleepless nights of taking care of you, with everything they gave to raise you. That's That's something Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows, and Allah is reminding us with it. Because a lot of us as kids, until you are a parent yourself, you don't know that. You don't know what your parents did to you. You don't know how much your parents sacrificed for you. We don't know that. We don't appreciate that. So Allah is there to remind us of that. But then because Allah knows that Allah should be the center of our world, Allah knows that we as parents make mistakes as well. And we as parents, with all the love we have for our kids, sometimes we make unwise decisions. And we could be confused about why we are doing things and what we are doing. Then that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him. Allah said, وَإِن جَاهَدَاكَ عَلَىٰ أَن تُشْرِكَ بِمَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٍ فَلَا تُطِعْهُمَا. If your parents force you or fight you to worship other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without knowledge, without evidence, just because they want you to do so, don't obey them. But this is, I think, the most important highlight of this surah. Allah is telling us conflict resolution. How to have a conflict and how you could disagree and still maintain a good relationship. Allah said, وَإِن جَاهَدَاكَ عَلَىٰ أَن تُشْرِكَ بِمَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٍ فَلَا تُطِعْهُمَا. Don't obey them. وَصَاحِبْهُمَا فِي الدُّنْيَا مَعْرُوفًا. And accompany them in this dunya with love and respect and dignity and kindness. Because even if they make mistake, that doesn't deny their rights on you. Right? And this is what we need to focus on as parents. When we put the wrong values in our kids' head, when we tell them, you should respect me and follow me because I love you, because I'm providing for you, because I'm giving you, because I'm right. You should listen to us because this is what we should do. This is the community, what the community wants. This is what people are going to say. And this is how people are going to love you. This is why I will love you. When we put everything in the condition with the direct relationship between the parent and the son, we're making a big mistake. Because the moment there is no more benefit in this relationship, it's difficult to disagree and still be kind. Because why? But if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the priority, and Allah is the most important thing for you, when you disagree and your heart having hard time to be kind and nice, because Allah is first, you will be kind and nice. You will be good. You will be respectful, even when you are disagreeing. Not because in that moment you are loving and respecting your parents necessarily, but because you respect and love and follow the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the benefit of us as parents and community, to put Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first before any other thing that we want, before any other association that we want. Before we say, what I want as a parent is number one. What the community would be pleased with is number one. What my neighbors would be pleased with is number one. What my cousins and nephews and aunts would be pleased with is number one. That's wrong. Because every single one of these elements could be wrong, could make mistakes. The only one that doesn't is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the only message that I will follow blindly is the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's how the relationship should be ordered. And then, after that, after we realize where our priorities are and who is number one in our life, then the practical part comes. And Luqman alayhi salam is telling his son how to conduct his life. But yet again, the most important thing for Luqman is the relationship his son has with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is again the continuation of this wisdom. Because if you know the most important thing is Allah, then the most important relationship should be your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he said, يا بني إنها إن تك مثقال حبة من خردل فتكن في صخرة أو في السماوات أو في الأرض يأتي بها الله. Luqman alayhi salam telling his son, Not just that we should worship Allah because Allah created us and Allah is, is in control and Allah is in charge of everything we have in this dunya. But also He's bringing this relationship into a more realistic example for him to see. Luqman telling his son, my son, if there is a seed of mustard that was hidden in a big rock, and if this rock were thrown on the heavens and the earth, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will find it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala know where is it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala know what's going on. And again, Luqman alayhi salam telling his son that if there is anything you should be concerned about, is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because guess what? No matter what you do, Allah is aware of it. No matter what you say, no matter how much you are good at hiding when it comes to your relationship with your parents, your spouse, any relationship, it doesn't matter because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what's going on. Having this awareness, having this consciousness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a key to be able to conduct a life that's pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because there is many moments where we are alone. There is many moments where we are making decisions and no one is listening, no one is seeing, no one is witnessing. Right? So he wanted to raise a son that is conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is aware of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then, after this awareness and understanding and consciousness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it needs to be put in practice. And he told him, Ya bunayya aqim as-salah. Oh my son, establish prayer. Because we forget. We are weak. We have a lot of distractions. We have a lot of desires. We need a daily reminder, and that is the salah. Every single time I leave this dunya for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's a reminder who is number one. When I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do, I pray. That is how I start my morning. A reminder for myself that this morning, starting by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and my goal is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In the middle of the day, this busy day, I'm at work, like the hustle and the bustle and everything is going on, you leave everything and you go pray. At the end of the day, you leave everything and you go pray. At the beginning of the night, you leave everything and you go pray. Before you sleep, you go and pray. So Luqman alayhi salam knows the importance of these reminders. But when we are trying to be good, and when we are conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this goodness cannot stop there. So then he told him, أقم الصلاة وأمر بالمعروف وانهى عن المنكر. You can't be someone who aware of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, concerned about what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants, and you see things going around and you say quiet and silent. أمر بالمعروف. Enjoin good and forbid evil. When you see something good happening, go and join that. When you see someone doing something good, go and encourage them. Be part of this good. And when you see something bad, whatever it is, a gathering and someone is backbiting, something happening in front of you, someone making a wrong decision, you have a responsibility to do something about it. And that's another important point. We are living in a world that is extremely self-centric, extremely individualistic. And a lot of us as parents, a lot of us in the community, we raise our kids telling them, don't talk to anyone, don't do anything, stay away from trouble, don't interfere in anything, just focus on yourself, focus on yourself. And we forget that we have a responsibility toward others in this community, toward others in this world. We are not here just to live our life and die and move on. We are here as elements of change. Everywhere a Muslim come, a change come, goodness come. right? And that's what we need to be aware of for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But again, you want to enjoin good and forbid evil, you have to be wise and know how to do it and when to do it and why to do it. And then he told him, وَاصْبِرْ عَلَى مَا أَصَابَكَ. Didn't you ever think if you're going to be following Allah's guidance, you're going to be enjoining good and forbidding evil, you won't be challenged. You won't be facing difficulties. Allah said, Surah Al-Ankabut, حَسِبَ النَّاسَ أَن يَقُولُوا آمَنَّا وَهُمْ لَا يُفْتَنُونَ. Did people think they could just say, we believed and move on? They will be tested. And this level of iman and awareness will be tested. And there is ups and downs. And we have to be patient. And that's a very important lesson for us to remember as well. And then, quickly, I will go through this. He gave him very two important practical advice as well. He said, وَلَا تُصَعَّرْ خَدَّكَ لِلنَّاسِ وَلَا تَمْشِي فِي الْأَرْضِ مَرَحًا إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ كُلَّ مُخْتَالٍ فَخُورٍ وَاقْصِدْ فِي مَشْيِكَ وَاغْضُضْ مِنْ صَوْتِكَ إِنَّ أَنكَرَ الْأَصْوَاتِ لَصَوْتُ الْحَمِيرِ. Two important principles here. But it's very interesting when they come. The first one was, don't be arrogant. And the second one was, don't just like be loud and walk and barge in everywhere you go. It's interesting how he told him these two characteristics after he highlighted the importance of relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Establishing prayer, enjoining good and forbidding evil. A lot of us, after we get to that level and we feel comfortable, I am on the right path. I am doing good. I am a good person. I am a religious person. Some sort of this arrogance come in our hearts. And we start to become tough on others. And that's what he's warning his son from. And then the second thing, he told him, if you have this awareness, you have this concern, don't be loud. Don't be concerned about being seen. وَقْصِدْ فِي مَشْيِكَ could have two meanings. Either you are like walking, and he told him like, be quiet and walk, in small steps. And then, or be intentional in where you go and what you're doing, right? Don't be concerned about like, I'm here, I came, everyone should see me. The way you walk, the way you enter a place, you are loud. Because both of these characteristics of being arrogant and loud will prevent you from hearing others, will prevent you from noticing others. And if someone concerned about the people around him, someone concerned about enjoying good and forbidding evil, you want to be able to pay attention to those around you. You want to be able to listen to those around you. Right? So here is Luqman alayhi salam telling his son all of these characteristics and values in a very beloved way. My beloved son, my son that I love, I'm telling you this, I'm giving you examples, I'm explaining to you. But do you think a wise man would advise someone about something he doesn't do? Do you think Luqman alayhi salam would ever tell his son one advice that his son doesn't clearly see in his father? So that's the first thing we should try to pay attention to as parents. There is no point of advising and ordering and telling and conversing and discussing about things we don't apply. And then the second thing, subhanAllah, he understood where his son is. Being a teenager or a young man is a very challenging age. There is a lot of biological and physiological aspects about brain development and the ability for brain to be aware of things and make sound decisions and the brain ability to analyze things and consciousness level, it's not developed yet. And one of the most important needs at that age is forming identity and belonging. These young men and women, they are facing a lot of confusion. They have a lot of values that they hear that most of them not applied in front of their faces. And they're living in a society that 24/7 telling them something else. And they're confused and shattered. And the worst thing that a parent could do to their kids is to come on top of that and destroy this relationship by forcing and ordering and confusing them even more. What they need is they need someone to listen to. They need someone to try to be kind to them, try to befriend them to some extent, because that's what this age need, and that's what we require from us as parents who have a mature brain and long experience in this life. We should have some patience more than them. We should have understanding more than them. We should have the ability to handle them, not the other way around, right? And that's what we need. Because the worst thing we could do for our kids is to put in their brain that their value come from what they give and do. You know, there's a nice saying I heard. It said that we are human beings, not human doings. Our value comes from our existence, not necessarily from what we do and provide. Right? Our kids need to know that as a parent, I love you. I love you just because you're my son, you're my daughter. You don't have to be number one. You don't have to be a doctor or engineer or the first one in everything for me to receive this validation and love. And that's a very challenging thing. And that's a lot of us sometimes as parents have hard time with that because we confuse the first step. We confuse Allah, what Allah wants, with what we want. And that's what we need to work on. Because at the end of the day, what's the value of doctors and engineers and lawyers who have no spiritual life, who have bad relationship with everyone, who have bad experience with Islam? What's the point of that? Right? And why are we forcing that? That's what we need to think of. And again, a wise man and a wise woman, and being wise in general, is different than being smart. Because being smart is your ability to fix any problem. You know, I have some issues, I have problems at work, in life, with kids. I come up with solutions, I will fix it, we will do this, we will do that. You're always working on it, right? But a wise person is the person that knows how to avoid the problem. And that's a huge difference. And instead of spending most of our life trying to deal with the consequences of decisions we make unwisely, we should try to regulate ourselves, our behavior, our emotions, and then lessen these mistakes, and then invest more of our time and energy and effort getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, getting closer for our beloved ones, getting closer for those who are responsible of us, that we are there to nurture them. We are there to raise them. We are there to give them these values and feelings, right? And if we're not present, how can we give them these values and feelings? How many of us as parents and community members sat down and have this conversation with your youth and kids? Right? That's something we should think of. A lot of our kids don't want to even talk. They don't want to talk. They are on their phones 24/7. They have zero communication. One time, one of the youth, I'll end with this, came and he was having very hard time with his parents, and he was crying. He's not a young, he's a 20 years old man. He's not 13 or 14 or 13, but it was hurt so much. He told me, I've been living with my dad, my whole life, and I think my dad doesn't know me. I don't think we know each other. Right? And that was very interesting for me to hear. I feel we're just like two buddies in the same place. That's it. But there's no connection. We never talk. We don't know each other. He doesn't know anything about me. Right? That's something we should sit down and think of. Instead of concerning and worrying about the future, what my son, my daughter are going to be, what's going to happen, focus about now, today. How is the relationship today? Today, I want to go and talk to my daughter, talk to my son, sit down with my family, listen from them, hear them, be wise, be quiet sometimes and let them talk. Because a lot of the time when we are ordering and ordering and ordering, they're not listening to us. So I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us navigate these sensitive and fine relationships. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم اغفر لنا وارحمنا وعافنا واعف عنا وإلى غيرك لا تكلنا. اللهم يا رحمن يا منان. اللهم عنا. Oh Allah, help us and aid us in raising our children, and help us and aid us in creating this relationship with wisdom and love and respect between us and our family members. Allahumma ameen. اللهم ارحم إخواننا. اللهم ارحم موتانا وموتى المسلمين واشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين. اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين في كل مكان وأيدهم بنصرك يا رحمن يا منان. وأقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
استووا واعتدلوا. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر وما أدراك ما ليلة القدر. ليلة القدر خير من 1000 شهر. تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر. سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح ورأيت الناس يدخلون في دين الله أفواجا فسبح بحمد ربك واستغفره إنه كان توابا. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Alaikum everyone, Juma Mubaraka, Jazallah khairan, Brother Mahmoud Rifai for this khutbah. A quick reminder, inshallah, for our Kids Quran program. It's every Friday at 5:30, age from 5 to 11 years. So try to bring your kids. It's a free program. They will learn Arabic and Quran, inshallah. Also, I want to remind you, inshallah, February is a Black History Month. We will celebrate, inshallah, this month with different like programs. So, first week of February on Saturday, February 4th, we'll have Dr. Khalil Abdul Rashid, the Muslim chaplain at Harvard University, will give us, inshallah, a lecture on Saturday after Isha at ISBCC. So, try to book your calendar for that. Another inshallah competition and connected to the story of Sayyidina Bilal the muazzin, we will have an adhan competition. So anyone like see himself like have a good skill doing azan inshallah in a good voice, please reach out to me to sign up. It will be on February 17th inshallah. So if you know someone, please let him contact me. And now inshallah we'll have a short like announcement with brother Ihab.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm sorry, it have been long 40 minutes. 3 minutes, just announcement. I'm a community organizer, work with Massachusetts Independent Driver Guild. Many of our community members, they do gig work, Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, Grubhub. This movement started about 9-10 months ago, advocating for their rights. Their job have been very difficult. They work long hours, they get paid less with no benefits, and it's getting worse and worse. Now, after about 9 months, 10 months, we get to the point we're going to do something, inshallah. It never happened in 50 states. The drivers writing their own legislative bill. They're going to write their own piece of law and push it in the state house. So what I want from the community now, if you do this job, we need your support. We got to call our state representative, our state senators. There is 160 state Congress here in the state of Massachusetts, 40 state senators, 200 of them. We need at least 1 or 2 of them to respond to this bill and push it and protect our workers. 70% of gig workers, they are people of color, they are Muslims, they are minority, they are immigrants. This is the people our members they come to the masjid. You know, some of them are here. So if you do this job, I will be by the door, Brother Rahim with me. I got some flyers. I can take your number, your name down, and we need to complete this work. And this is going to be a role model for our communities to stand up for their rights. So the Imam talking about wisdom to prevent things happen. So now, sadly, a lot of members of our community members here, they have been deactivated from work. They stopped suddenly from work unjustly without any due process. We want to prevent that. We want to be wise and build coalition, coordinate together, and prevent something like that happen. And another things like our youth, Faisal Sayyid gunned down. We want to protect our youth as well. There is a lot of things we need to do together. But to be civic engaging, to be standing for our rights and be proactive, this is what leads us to wisdom, and we can prevent things happen in our communities. You name it, kids, youth, our whatever issues in our communities. So I don't want to talk too much, sounds like a khutbah. I will be by the door, Brother Rahim will be there. If you do this job, I need your name, I need your number. If you don't do this job, you know somebody do it, we need your help, especially if you register to vote. We want to contact our lawmakers and let them do the job. We get elected them and voted for them. Jazakumullah khair.
Jazakallah khair. Before we conclude, there's a sister whose mother passed away in Morocco a couple of days ago. So inshallah, make quick dua for her if you can, and other people who also are who have passed away and are ill as well, inshallah. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم اغفر لها وارحمها، اللهم اغفر لها وارحمها، اللهم اغفر لها وارحمها وتجاوز عن سيئاتها. اللهم أبدلها دارا خيرا من دارها، وأهلا خيرا من أهلها، وزوجا خيرا من زوجها. اللهم أكرم نزلها واسع مدخلها، واجعل قبرها روضة من رياض الجنة، ولا تجعله حفرة من حفر النيران. اللهم ادخلها جنة الفردوس الأعلى من أي باب بدون حساب. اللهم احشرنا مع سيدنا ومولانا محمد، مع النبيين والصديقين والشهداء والصالحين، وحسن أولئك رفيقا. اللهم ارحم موتانا وموتى المسلمين، اللهم ارحم موتانا وموتى المسلمين، واشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين. Ya Rabbi, Ya Kareem, we ask you by your most beautiful and beloved names, we ask you, Ya Rabbi al-Alameen, to have rahmah upon our dear mother. We ask you, Ya Rabbi al-Alameen, to have rahmah upon all those who passed away. We ask you, Ya Rabbi al-Alameen, to fill their graves with your light. We ask you to fill their graves with a garden from Jannat al-Firdaus al-A'la. We ask you, Ya Rabbi al-Alameen, to give them thabat when they are asked and they're questioned about you in their grave. We ask you, Ya Rabbi al-Alameen, to give them steadfastness. We ask you, Rabbil Alameen, to allow them to enter Jannat al-Firdaus al-A'la from any of its gates without questioning, Ya Rabbi, Ya Kareem. We ask you to resurrect them and to gather them with your Habib Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam and all the Nabiyeen, the prophets, and the Siddiqeen, the truthful, and the Shuhada, the martyrs, and the Salihin, the righteous. We ask you, Rabbil Alameen, to elevate them to the highest of heights, Ya Rabbi, Ya Kareem, with you, Ya Rabbi, Ya Arham ar-Rahimin. We ask you to have to send your shifa upon all those who are ill. We ask you, رب العالمين, to heal them a full and complete healing, شفاء عاجلا لا يغادر سقما, a quick healing, full, complete, that will never ever return back. يا رب يا كريم. وصل اللهم وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Jazakallah khair, Brother Saeed. Last thing, we are hiring for a security positions. Anyone interested in apply, please reach out to me for security position here for Cambridge location, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. Inshallah, we will pray Asr after Adhan. Adhan at 2:36. 2:36, inshallah.